We're back with the 2005 Polaris Sportsman 400. This thing has been a complete nightmare to work with. When I bought this thing, I bought it for $1,400. The CV axle in the front was completely stuck in the front diff. And it turns out both of them were stuck. So we ended up having to take out the front diff and splitting it apart. The CV axles were so bad, so we had to get brand new ones. And then the differential is split apart right now, and we're going to rebuild that today and cut out the other CV axle shaft that we didn't finish up last video. And hopefully get this thing all back together with brand new front axles, brand new rebuilt diff, and hopefully this thing will be good to go. All right, so last video we got the CV axle cut out of the front differential. And we had to take the front differential out of the machine, split it open, and we actually got the axle to come out without wrecking the front differential. Now we're on to the second part of the differential here. This one is a little bit more complicated. There's a couple plates in here, but yeah, pretty simple. We have to take off this clip right here, and then this plate, and then we're gonna pound this out and see if that comes out. If not, we're going to do the same thing and cut the axle right here without trying to wreck this front diff plate cover. So that's the plan. Let's see if we can do it. Like that. So the brass one goes over the metal one. Okay. So it just goes like that. And there's the bearing in there. I don't know if this comes out or not. This little pin. I don't think it does. We're gonna find out here. Just gonna pound on that. Trying to make this gap wider in the back here so that we can get our sawzall in there and make a nice clean cut without wrecking anything. That's kind of the goal. We also have this wire to contend with. We don't want that to be cut either. So a couple different things we're working on, but the main part is not wrecking the front diff here. It'd be really nice if it just popped right out. Alright, so what we're going to do, since it's not coming out, is cut this thing off. We're using the Milwaukee cast iron Sawzall blade here. This thing cut through the axle last time, so let's just see if that's gonna work again. I'm gonna try not to wreck anything here. All right, we got another new blade. The other one was wearing out pretty fast. It was taking forever to cut, so we just got a new one. Make the job a little faster here. I'm not surprised it got dull. That was a thick chunk of metal I had to go through. So, new blade. All right, let's see if this goes a little faster now. Wow, that took me 4 hours to cut through that. Whew. Not even kidding. Oh my gosh, it would not break off until the last little tiny piece right there. So, cutting through like 2 inches of solid hardened steel. Whew. Let's see if we wrecked anything. See if it was worth it. So I think we're... Alright, bearing just fell out. That thing is hot. Woo. Here's the cover. I don't think we wrecked it too much. A lot of shavings in there, but I can still see the seal where that went. So we saved it. My gosh, that was a lot of work. Now we can move on to the assembly of the new bearings. Finally, took forever. All right, we have all of our front differential pieces out over here. We are going to press in these bearings. Hopefully we don't have to press them in. Hopefully they just drop right in. We have them in the freezer right now. And we're just gonna heat up the surface here from the outside. There is a magnet here, so we don't want to damage that. And then we can put the rest of it back together. Got our heat gun here. Just gonna heat up the surface right here. So what this does is make it expand so that the bearing can slide right in. This should pop right in, like that. So that slid right in. That's perfect. Now we can do the next one. That's what we like to see there. This one we go from the back because there is a magnet in there. Alright, let's see if it was hot enough here. Yep. That fits perfectly, so didn't take a whole lot of heat. These I left in the freezer for like a week, so they were pretty cold. All right, now we're just gonna let that sit for a second. Let that bearing season there. And so this bearing right here goes on top of here like that. Now on this side we can get these clips in. So it goes this one first. Then we've got the copper looking plate. This one. That. And we've got our clip. Jeez. Like that. So that's looking good. It's all cleaned off, ready to go. Like that. Alright, that looks good. And now we gotta deal with getting this broken bolt off. Let's see if I can get that out. We might have to drill that sucker out. All right, we're gonna oil everything up. Get a little bit of oil on the bearings here. Down here. Now for this piece, I'm gonna grease this up. So it stays in place. We're gonna put that right over here. Hopefully that sticks. A little bearing oil. Oil on the bearing here. Oil on these bearings. Alright, so now this cover can go on. What you want to do is line up these notches right here with the notches right there. Alright, now we're going to use some Loctite and get these bolts in. Alright, now we can pound in the seals. Make sure these spin nicely, nice and smooth. Alright, that's super smooth. And this one actually spins, but it floats in oil. We don't have oil in it right now, but it will be smooth once it starts floating. So, that's looking good. Here's our seal kit here. So, open one of these up, put a little grease on it. Alright, that seals in. Next one. Grease this one up a little bit. Alright, that seals in. Alright, so when we first took apart this front diff, we broke off this bolt right here, so I ended up drilling it out and then just threading a bolt through it with a nut on the back of it, because that's a long section to have without a bolt squeezing that down. So I figured we kind of needed that bolt in there to squeeze these two cases together. Alright, the fill plug is right here. That bolt was so tight, I used my breaker bar and stand on it. It finally came without stripping out, so we got really lucky there. You can see just how rusty that was. Oh man, that was on there. I don't know if we can get it back off now. That should be fun. But this is going to be filled up with transmission fluid. It takes a very light kind because of the four-wheel drive actuator in there. So you're supposed to fill this up like a ½ inch before the threads. I think it takes 5 ounces, is what I read online. It's just starting to come out of the threads here. So that is plenty of fluid in there. Alright, we're here underneath here. Alright, let's try to get this front diff in here. Got it laying on the ground right here. We're going to go in through the front of the machine. Try to get this thing lined up and in place. It's a little tricky. A little tricky to maneuver it in here. It only fits in like one way. What's over here? It's supposed to sit right there. Yeah, okay. So that would make sense. Alright, a little bit of anti-seize on here, on the shaft. We don't want that getting stuck again. That was pretty stuck on there with the hammer. Last time we had to take that off, so that's never gonna happen again. Loaded that up with anti-seize, so that should be good. Get the shaft in here, if it will fit. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, we got the bolt through the drive shaft here, bolted to the front diff. Now the front diff is secured down by the bolts on the bottom here. You can see, so those are all good to go. Let's get these axles in next. We've got a brand new one right here. So what you do is there's a little clip right here that pushes in there and locks in place. So we're gonna put some anti-seize on there. That's where it got stuck last time, so we don't want that to happen again. You know, lube that up, lube up the pin. We're gonna go heavy on the anti-seize. We don't want that to ever happen again. Put a little bit in here. So let's get this axle in place. Polarises are notorious for doing this, but to their defense, in the manual it does say to disassemble these every couple of years so that it doesn't happen. Alright, let's drive this guy in first. So hold that straight and then just pound. I can see it go on. Like that. Now it's in place. Alright, now this gets bent into here. Like so. Put on a nut and then a cotter pin. Alright, here we go. Cotter pin going in. Alright, we've got our second axle here going on. Hold this sucker up. You don't want that to ever happen again. Alright, and then we'll hit the inside. There we go. Take a rubber mallet. Just pound this sucker on. That's in place. Alright, now we just have to get this in. Might be a little tricky. Alright, there we go. Washer, and nut. Through. Go over that. All right, this thing is finally back together. All we have to do is add some coolant to it and take it for a test drive. Hopefully everything's good. We've got the new belt in there, all ready to go. We've got the brand new bearings and seals in the front diff. So let's see if it works. All right, we're topped off. All right, finally this thing's back together. We've got coolant in it, we've got oil in it. Let's see if she fires up here. All right, running perfectly. Let's see if the 4x4 switch is working. I think you have to be in gear. There we go. 4x4 switch is working. The question is, will it move? All right, first ride with all the axles in place on the Sportsman 400. Go for a ride. Come on. Oh, yeah. Vinny's coming for a ride here. Or no rattling. Got good power. Very smooth. Alright, we're going to put it in 4x4. See what happens. Oh, Vinny, what's up, buddy? Oh yeah. That sounds good. Oh yeah, 4x4 is working. Cool. Ooh, a tree came down. Supposed to pull that out. The winch. Woo. Ball hit the ground. Little tree came down here. It's in the path. Let's just quick pull it out and cut this thing up. Vinny found a stick. What's he doing? Vinny, that's a big stick you got. Nice little wood pile started here. Alright, well this thing is running perfectly. No issues with it at all. We'll quick check out the axles, see if they're holding up here. Oh yeah, looking perfect. No wobble at all. Oh yeah, that's perfect in there. No leaking from the diff at all. So this thing is officially fixed. I am so happy to be done with this project. You have no idea. I think I've got, it's countless hours into this thing. Just cutting out the axles took me at least 8 hours. So with the teardown, the diagnosis, the fix, I mean, I've got to be in easily over 20 hours. So yeah, was not super easy, but we learned a lot along the way, and I think it was definitely worth it. One more thing I want to check on this thing are the valves. I did not do that last video, so let's get this thing torn down, check the valves, make sure they're perfect, and then this thing's gonna be set to go. All right, we're gonna attempt to check the valves here. I just want to see where we're at. All right, we got the spark plug out, fed out, nice and brown. That is perfect. That flew off of there. Alright, then we can use the pull cord to get this thing top dead center. There's one mark. We're gonna get that off, come back. Alright, this whole cover can come off. It was missing 2 bolts. Right here and right here. Alright, we gotta rotate the engine over a little bit more. I think we're 180 out here. At the top dead center, you can see there's a line right there, and if you guys can see in here, it's kind of hard to see. You can zoom in a little bit. The intake are loose, and the exhaust, you can hear, are loose, so those are good. But we're gonna check the specs here. Alright, so clearance for these, they're supposed to be 0.006 inches for both the exhaust and the intake valve. So we're gonna get our feeler gauge in there. Sorry, you guys really can't see anything. That one's a little tight. Yeah, both intake are a little bit tight here. Let's see what the exhausts are. Exhausts feel good. Yep, exhausts are good. Intake are a tad tight. Yeah, feeler gauge isn't going in. Let's see if we go down to 0.003. They feel pretty dang tight. 0.003 feeler gauge. one's not going in. That one's not going in. So they're a tad tight here. 0.002. Let's see if that goes in. I don't think that's going in either. Wow. So the right intake valve, 0.002 went in. The left it did not. And this one is tight as well, so let's adjust those quick. Perfect right there. So now you can hear them moving. So both intake and exhaust valves are set correctly now. Alright, now we can get the cover back on. We're just gonna put a little gasket maker on the cover. Alright, let's get some sealer in here. Thin layer going on. All right, this Polaris Sportsman 400 is pretty much officially done. I was looking for some side covers for it, but they're like $100 each. I'm not spending that on a piece of plastic, so I decided not to get them. I ended up paying $1,400 for this machine. I spent another $80 on the axle, and then another, I think it was like $80 on the bearings and seals. So another $160, right around $200 into it. So I think we've got $1,600 into this machine. Pretty good for a 2005 Polaris 400 with a plow and winch. So I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely sick of working on this thing. It took me many, many hours to get this thing finally right with that stuck front axle, but we finally got it figured out and it's fixed correctly. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next one. And until next time, we are out.